And now we are reaching to our last panel discussion for today's conference. And the topic will be the next wave of innovation. But before we jump into that, I would like also to hear from you, Vincent. What do you think, what kind of innovation that you think will thrive in the next few years?
I'm excited about what I saw in Microsoft, where I don't need to work anymore. I just talk to my computer and it does the work for me. So that's what I'm excited about.
Okay, let's hear about it from our panelists. I would like to invite Leonardo Cercello, VP of Sales, Region Middle East and Africa, Sparkle, and Managing Director, Sparkle Singapore. Edwin van Irlan, COI Basis Voice and Mobile Data. Pavel Salatiuk, Vice President of Sales, Vox Solutions. And Prasan Singh Parihar, Associate Vice President, Tech Mahindra.
Hi, everybody.
All right, Vincent, the stage is yours.
Yeah. So today's session is really about, or at least this panel session about forward-looking emerging tech, right? Let's step away from Web3. Let's step back and look forward holistically. Emerging tech in the broadest sense, within the realm of your business or within the broader technology space. For me, the objective of this panel is really to have an open discussion, and again, questions from the audience very welcome, to understand what is going to drive innovation in the next year. So not within the next 12, but let's have an open mind in the next few years. Maybe, Pavel, let me start with you. You are actually already using AI technology today, so you're, I guess, at the foreground of emerging tech. Would you just mind a little bit explaining what Vox Solution does with this emerging tech?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. So, Vox Solutions, essentially, we are the product-first tech company. We developed our own proprietary anti-fraud firewall that won multiple awards. And what I want to say, like everyone talks about AI and machine learning, but very often it's just very general without any particular use case. And particularly for Vox, this is where we see our key differentiator in the market and what our customers do admit. Because with the help of AI and machine learning algorithm that we put on top of the firewall itself for MNO, because everyone can do essentially firewall, it's the algorithm that would make all the entire difference. We're able to, to detect fraud real time, and this is very, very important. And we also developed a lot of different mechanisms, for example, to help MNOs to identify the flash calling. We met with so many MNOs here, and everyone admits that flash calling, which is basically 2FA via voice, is becoming a bigger problem. And like different type of research, institutions like Gartner, Uniper, wherever, saying that it could be up to 20–30% revenue drop on SMS back to the flash calling. So now we are creating, we talk about complexity, right? We talk about complexity and huge revenue drops for the MNOs because of the obviously reduction of revenue on SMS. We help to identify those flash calls on the infrastructure level, but not only identify, but we also have helped them to capture it and monetize this flash calling. So essentially, it's becoming additional level revenue stream for them. So that's one thing. And the second thing where AI and machine learning, particularly for our case, is very important, is a game changer, is we are helping MNOs to fight against artificial inflated traffic. And you know, like entire industry know that the amount of AET in the last 12–18 months became absolutely brutal. So this is how we're able to leverage our technology to help MNOs to tackle their like biggest problems. The thing is that unfortunately fraud became everywhere, and unfortunately fraud is very dynamic. So only best-in-class technology would be the one who can help MNOs to react in the fastest way possible. And that's how the way we see it works. Thank you.
Thank you. And talking about SMS voice fraud, there's some carriers here. Do you see the same trends? Do you embrace emerging AI as well to solve some of these problems or even create new revenue streams?
Let's say everybody is looking for new revenue streams. Let's say the matter is, let's say our historic perspective is still extremely voice DNA oriented. To secure that, to secure the current position in the market, remain competitive. However, what we see a lot of technology trends, let's say, hitting us, and let's say productizing that and monetizing that is the next challenge. My neighbor just talked about flash calling. I do not see that as a new revenue stream. And I do perfectly understand why the MNOs are, let's say, protecting their network, because they don't have the means at this moment, but they also still have that historic perspective. What can we do, let's say, to identify it and to make it legitimate and translate it from a securing an existing revenue stream into a monetized revenue stream and also benefit from it. Let's say we are evaluating, let's say, the solution of Fox. So let's say hopefully you can make it to the shortlist. But let's say these are tools what we see at this moment. Other topics hitting our, let's say, top line is the VoLTE migration. Everybody knew that 5G was there or 4G was there, and that at some stage the migration to VoLTE would happen. And guess what? Oh, it hits the top line in a negative way. Oh, can we compensate that? And then we see extreme items in other parts of the industry where then we give huge commitments and prepayments in the SMS domain because we want to monetize, we want to secure exclusivity as such. So it's a vicious circle where I see opportunities like RCS, which was dormant for many years, and now recently Google is proactively, let's say, advocating RCS development and let's say broadcasting that message to all the Android users in a very aggressive way, simply because they do not want to pay 20 cents termination for that traffic. But we want to protect our network because we don't want to give it away for free. CPaaS, exactly the same story. A big incumbent has problems to identify, let's say, the segmentation of the carriers who will benefit from CPaaS. It is most likely more enterprise-oriented, and the big MNOs and incumbents are not equipped for that. Let's say, so it is inevitable that, let's say, all these new technologies, plus also the strategy of the hyperscalers will enforce us to change, let's say, our way of thinking and be more forward-looking and less backward-looking what we have and what we need to protect. But again, I'm here also to be a little bit provocative.
Yeah.
And let's say I'm not going to retire and then leave this room and leave the shit behind. But I think there are lots of opportunities ahead of us which we can use. And most likely my neighbor from Tech Mahindra, they are an institute with, let's say, extreme forward-looking statements. So I'm interested to hear your view as well.
The moderator has spoken, so Prashant, we hear, if I may say, a little bit of innovator's dilemma, dynamics, right? Protecting core business, being disrupted by emerging tech. So from your point of view, Prashant, what is your forward-looking positive outlook?
See, if you ask me, in the end, there's two aspects for the growth of a business. One, you have to continuously showcase the growth. Second, you have to do the optimization, okay, and bring up the efficiency. If you talk about the current technologies that are coming, everyone talking about AI, IoT, 5G that is working around. If you see the future aspect as well, we recently, Tech Mahindra launches the Indus large language model program to showcase for the 25% of the world population to focus on the AI. Along with that, if you see in the future market, as soon as the market will grow, the quantum computing will come into the picture. We are really bullish on this. We have a makers lab who are closely working with IBM, Google, because they are focusing currently on a front runner on the quantum computing side. Apart from that, the way we see it, advanced robotics, since Tech Mahindra primarily focusing providing services to CSPs, we see advanced robotics along with integrating with 5G and IoT roaming. That will definitely come into the picture. See, at the end of the day, it's about evolution. Whatever the things that we are doing, there are certain managing the core business, but as soon as you will start focusing more, the new channel will automatically open up over there. So it's like a going through the equilibrium, focusing one to the other, moving from one step to the other steps that we are focusing on.
Yeah. So again, AI, IoT, robotics, these are the things you particularly highlight as emerging or exciting technologies in your view. Leonardo, what do you think?
In addition to what my colleague has just said, we are partnering already with Vox and iBasis on the SMS and voice. Of course, revenue impact is important, but what Sparkle is doing is to try to implement new technology to keep the sustainability of the business and the profitability of the business. We are experienced today in implementing the AI networking on, let's say, data solution, when we are speaking about assurance, trouble ticketing, and I can testify that there is a huge impact in terms of operational resource dedicated, time to repair, time to react, and understanding and closing the trouble ticket. And these allow a better customer experience, and these should improve with the cost saving and the better customer experience and the profitability of our business.
So your point is really automatization, efficiency, innovation as a way to unlock value from your business?
Yes. This is the way we are implementing this new technology. Of course, when we have to innovate, being a traditional player that grow up on the voice trading, of course, we have to lean our process. Innovation is also doing the same things in a more efficient way. So try to transform ourselves, not only to enable the digital transformation, but implement in our company some process that will simplify and, let's say, be quicker, be more efficient.
Was that a logical journey, or were there some hurdles that you had to overcome to really say, look, we're going to use AI, automatization to improve? Was that a logical journey?
It's a logical journey. We learn and we confirm what we listened yesterday about the goal that we as a telco player has to, let's say, assure the connectivity of the society, the empower of the economy, and enabling and support the digital transformation. We know exactly which are the driver, and we are speaking about high capacity, security, better latency, quality of services, and the adaptability, not only of the network, of the infrastructure, but also of the company structure.
Yeah. You say innovation on latency, Leonardo. When we spoke last week, you had some solutions, right, that were driving lower latency, infrastructure innovations.
Well, when we are speaking about infrastructure, of course, route diversity that will grant to the customer, let's say, the diversity, but also the improvement in terms of latency. We have built 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the SIM 5. That is the best cable infrastructure today linking Singapore to Europe. And we are now building a new infrastructure that will connect India to Europe. And then, of course, we are extending this solution up to Singapore, and is making a different path. Different path means more reliability, means protection, and means improving in terms of latency. And this is, again, an innovation in a infrastructure business model that sometimes seems to be rigid, seems to be inelastic to the innovation.
And talking about that, the Raman Blue cable system was quite, I mean, it's quite innovative in that sense, I guess. Was that latency driven or?
Is latency driven, is route diversity, and of course is making a unique path today compared to, let's say, the multiple cable that today is linking Asia towards Europe and Middle East. So it's not, let's say, going through, let's say, the traditional path that is the Egypt channel, but is going through, let's say, Jordan, and then go in the Mediterranean. So it's again, it's something that in terms of latency and performance is shorter, so should bring value to the market, and again, is a route diversity that is another value added.
Yeah. Pavel, we just spoke about, you know, a carrier embracing AI, automatization. You yourself, you know, you have AI use cases. What's your learnings on AI? How can it scale? What are the pitfalls for enterprises adopting it?
Well, again, is a good technology as far as is my experience and my company experience to allocate better the resource, to grant cost saving, and let's say with the machine learning process, of course, we try to speed up and reduce the time to react and improve the time to money. That is quite important KPI within our company.
Pavel, what build or buy? You might be skewed in this answer, but have you seen enterprises trying to replicate some of your solutions, and have you seen whether that works, or you just go with an outsourced model and a proven model, or?
I would say it's something that you could read in basic management. Focus is important, right? So if we talk about MNOs, obviously they need to focus on their core business, right? So buying external technology, so if we talk about the technology, it needs to be bought by them from, for example, companies like Vox, with whom they're being product first tech company. For us, it's a core business. So obviously, for me, it's the best choice. And we also talk about, like I was listening very attentively, the amount of changes is so huge and everything is so dynamic, and the problems are becoming more and more complex. Unfortunately, due to the size, not only for MNOs, but also for big OTTs, essentially Googles and Metas of the world, they also became giants. Even they are not able to react so quickly on their rising problems. That is why such agile scale-ups like Vox are able to help. And that's, I think, the right way for the business and the ecosystem.
Yeah. Edwin, you were mentioning CPaaS. It's long heralded as emerging tech, potentially a next, source of revenues for a lot of carriers. You were not as positive, I felt, in the beginning of the chat. So can you just elaborate a little bit?
As I stated before, I think you need to investigate and explore new opportunities. I think at the time, CPaaS was for a long period of time a buzzword, and nobody really understood how can we translate it into business. It was driven more in an omni-channel environment, driven by the enterprise market. And for a traditional wholesaler, it was not easy, let's say, to adapt the technology and to adapt the way of thinking into a product, into the market. And we are wholesalers, and we deal directly with the incumbents, MNOs, and all kinds of telecom providers, and they need to provide it to the market. So you always have an additional channel to bring it to the end customer. Let's say, to give a good example, we did business with Telestex, which was being acquired by Mavenir, and 1 year later, Mavenir decided to, let's say, divest the Teletext CPaaS solution. That is already an example that also for them it is difficult to find the right customer segmentation, the right market. I'm not going to say there is no market, because there is definitely a market. But the translation via the right distribution channel to reach that customer, that's a different story. And let's say at the same time, you see what hyperscalers are doing, let's say, to bring the quality to the end customer at a higher level. And that's a complete different way of thinking, complete different way of processing. I completely concur what my colleague just said about build or buy. I think buying and partnering is inevitable in the future for the industry to stay efficient. Let's say AI can help us to do a better market segmentation, to improve our customer satisfaction and to lower our operational cost. But you need the right DNA in your company. And that is for me, and I'm not a board member in a boardroom. I see how difficult it is for a traditional party, even for iBasis, with, let's say, we were very innovative 27 years ago with introducing voice over IP, and nobody believed in it. And then we were transporting the majority of quality traffic over IP with the highest quality standards going forward. And see now, let's say the market is creating so many opportunities at the same time, but I also need to focus and I need to satisfy my shareholders and my stakeholders going forward. So it is for me difficult to make choices. And I think the opportunities are there. It is a matter of finding the right balance between to secure my market and grow the customer satisfaction, reduce my operational cost by using the new technologies and finding the right partners.
If I may, I would like to add. In my career, I started at Deutsche Telekom, continued with Vonage, and I'm now with Vox. But for any, at least I would love to speak about the Western Europe. On paper, for any MNO or big established MNO, Deutsche Telekom or Telefonica or whomever or Vodafone Group, the CPaaS business presents a great opportunity, a great additional revenue stream. On paper. But the way how you execute CPaaS in omnichannel is completely different. I'm coming from that part, and if we talk about like average enterprise account manager at MNO, you would see this person being spending 30 years in MNO, selling SD-WAN and let's say VLAN and all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden for him to switching to SaaS products and e-commerce presents such a great challenge in the mindset that the ability of execution completely fails. And this is the biggest problem. And I would like to quote here the Gary Vaynerchuk, I mean, most probably heard of him, saying like, the ideas are worth of nothing. Everyone, I can give you like million ideas right now, many brilliant ideas, but it's all about the execution. And unfortunately, the execution is the most important part for any business. And like you say, it's so important to focus and evaluate what will be the next idea that I'm able to adopt, execute, and what exactly is going to generate those additional revenue stream. Otherwise, its great idea will remain either on paper or you will actually lose money because of failed execution.
But then speaking so I hear you, go-to-market is key to deliver the promise, but then bringing those two together, what are the realistic innovations that you are particularly excited about and confident about, right, to deliver going forward? I hear a lot of efficiency, cost saving, but top-line expansion. What are the things you guys are pursuing or excited about? Again, in the time frame of a few years.
Let's say everything as a service will become, let's say, inevitable. And to give you an example, if that can be network as a service, let's say that can be NOC as a service. We call communication platform as a service. The problem is how to, let's say, preserve your business on one hand and stay open for opportunities where you see that you can easily monetize and productize it. Let's say the different way of thinking of the hyperscalers is opening, let's say, at least collectively, our mindset. We can't do without them. What Google is doing is disruptive. What Amazon doing is disruptive. The fact that Alibaba is opening 26 data centers all by themselves already is disruptive. So we need to think different, more forward-looking. We need young talent who are convincing, let's say, the traditional thinkers, and I consider myself also with 30 plus years experience as a traditional thinker. However, I'm open for those new ideas. So the young talent needs to challenge us, let's say, and we need to translate that in proper leadership is making right decisions going forward. This is exactly what my neighbor said. There are plenty of ideas. The question is, what can we monetize and what can we bring to the customer because the customer wants the demand. Let's say it's inevitable. To give you a good example, IoT. Everybody believed in IoT that will be the fastest growing business, I think 2-3 years ago. Let's say all the projections were magnificent. Till the moment there was an emergency upgrade by Tesla and it collapsed almost the network in Europe because Tesla did not give a pre-warning to the MNO. Everything went through the air and the network almost collapsed. So these are things we need to take into account in the chain of operations, how, let's say, our telecom role is still a very important role. And this is just an example. IoT, I still believe it is a growing business, but it will take significant more time.
Yeah.
That's why I believe that, as we said this morning, the co-pilot approach should be the winning, because we have to exchange our experience and try to learn which is the technology that we should implement in our respective market. As, let's say, Microsoft showed with the co-pilot on which you can benefit from any research, any, let's say, chat GDP that you are doing, or let's say, as we learn from the Web3, that we can stay and ask for a presentation. Somebody will make it on our behalf. We have to take the same approach also when we try to innovate and try to learn from the partner or the solution provider that has already tested and implemented.
But then is co-creation, POCs, partnerships with the ecosystem increasingly relevant to kind of hedge your risk or be more relevant to the needs of the enterprise so that you don't need to place big bets that might not pan out or not within the time frame you thought? Is collaboration, co-creation with your clients increasingly relevant then to deliver on the innovation promise?
See, Steve, I'll just add. See, actually, if you see in the market, specifically with the economic changes that are happening, companies, specifically enterprises, apart from the tech companies, the traditional market companies prefer to be a late bloomer than a first movers, okay? And with all those, if you see in early 2000 and now, the way technologies are changing, the time span of technology changing is significantly reduced. Now, what would happen from the IoT perspective? Okay, everyone asks for a specific thing, but traditional market model. Let's take an example of manufacturing industry, and I'll give an example of Indonesia. From past 3 years, they are getting maximum FDI in ASEAN region. Okay. Now, when the FDI is coming, definitely there is a huge potential for Industry 4.0 and IoT market. When you go to the normal manufacturing sector and MSME, they wanted to implement. They have the technology, but they don't know what the solution they wanted to implement. So the total cycle, initially when you go for the requirement like CPaaS or normal voice, SMS, you go directly requirement, they understand. First, you have to feed them the information, what are the things that you can do, and showcase the business case to them. That will automatically increase the cycle. The second problem that comes around is maximum time is about the people, like sir mentioned, traditional approach. If you ask for a people, suppose you go for a CPaaS and you go to any CSP, maximum time CSP asks, can it check my CDR as well or the traditional data? But now CPaaS, if you see with the APIs that are coming in, like KYC is one of the key factors in terms of the banking industry they have adopted to the communication platform as well, that moved from the omni-channel. So if you ask in summarized version, the overall time period has increased for the new technology adoption, for the new technologies to adopt by the enterprise domain. So, and subsequently, the technology changing is moving very fast. So if you see Web3 metaverse, 2-3 years back, the Web3 metaverse was coming everywhere and all those things. Right now, it is getting some reality check, but it still is an initial phase. Chat, GPT, AI, from past 6 months is one of the hotmost topic, okay, that is coming around. Probably after 2-3 years, you will see quantum computing also one of the hotmost topic. By the time it goes to the end customers, right, It has to serve the mass per people, enterprise customer. And one of the key other problem that is happening, if you see, everyone is focusing on the consolidated market. Decentralization is very important. 60% of the 65% of the world population still lives in tier 3 and rural areas. Okay, if I example of Indonesia, because we are in Bali, 80% of the data center is in Java Island. 65% of the MSME is only in the Java Island. Okay, in this one island over there. The whole economy. When you see demographically North Sulawesi, South Sulawesi for the optical fiber, Sumatra Island, these are also critically important. But now, if you have to decentralize, collaborate, everything has to work around. It's more like building up a complete product service ecosystem and a plan instead of going along with a single approach. That is going to be changed as per my understanding.
I think you're touching a very good topic indeed. We are talking about that what we are doing is covering 100% of the planet. And that's still not the case. And I think we should also have the ambition to explore, let's say, those areas where the demand of, let's say, the existing technology would already become a common good. And let's say we're talking about 5G, we're talking about all kinds of new technologies, but there is still, let's say, 50% of the population suffering from, let's say, the basic telco services.
Just to add, I think it's important that every company calibrates according to their strategy and amount their needs. So it's totally normal that, let's say, if again I will make example of Western Europe when Deutsche Telekom is going to cooperate with Volkswagen or like BMW together on creating breakthrough technology in IoT area for automotive or any like manufacturing. That should be a co-creation, right? Or like the Dutch companies who are extremely innovative. Look at what T-Mobile Netherlands is doing with Shell together, right? That's amazing. At the same time, we really believe what makes sense is for us, at least from Vox perspective towards the MNOs, is not a co-creation, but actually delivering and promising them a full managed service, right? Where we install our technology, we install the product. We are able, because we are able to identify and eliminate voice and SMS fraud, we are able to promise and sometimes even guaranteeing this traffic increase and revenue increase and remove all the hassle from the entire process and let them know focus on their main business. So for this particular, then kind of like offering, then completely taking over that part of the business makes sense because they have to put resources somewhere else. So I think it's up to top management of the companies to decide and to calibrate. Is it the co-creation? Is it making something together? Or maybe let the external party or trusted party or whoever I called it, manage that partner away, completely take care of it, and just trust that they will be doing their job in the best of their abilities.
Yeah. We've spoken about automatization, everything as a service, so the logical thing within the realm of your core business would be network as a service. We've talked extensively about it yesterday, but just for your point of view, do you think that's the next wave of innovation and adoption that you will see in your respective industries?
I think it's inevitable. Let's say the operational cost needs to be decreased, and let's say new technologies as AI can help us significantly in that area. And let's say the human interface will be changed. Yes, robotics will be there, but where AI can help us with analysis, let's say bringing things faster to the customer, with better support, sophisticated language, all kinds of things. Yeah, we should benefit from that. Whether that is in the network as a service or CPaaS as a service, that's not relevant. As an underlying supporting tool, the question is, how can we implement it? Let's say we are not the subject matter experts on it. Let's face reality. It's a complete different, likewise in the gaming industry. And now we have to, let's say, look at GPUs and the density of GPUs and let's say the impact on GPUs on our networks. Let's say we are confronted with complete different questions than I was in the past. Mm. And to adapt to that new language, to new requirements, and new way of thinking, that is a big cultural challenge, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So the point here is that there's so much disruption around us that we have our hands full keeping up with those innovations internally, and we should prepare for accommodating to emerging needs that surround us. Is that a right way of playing that back?
Spot on.
Yeah. Do you see the same thing, Leonardo?
Yes, and we have to do step by step. So we have to focus and implement progressively the different solution with the different technology. AI is something, software-defined cloud interconnect is another technology that we are implementing to, again, optimize the cost and improve the customer experience. At the same time, reduce the time and the allocation of the resources.
Perfect.
So, Stephen, just wanted to add a line over here. See, one of the key aspects for adopting a new technology would be how we can enable last mile person. And if I see in past decade, Reliance Jio, okay, that is India, I see their business model, although it's a caveat that they have a deep pockets, but the way they started building up initially from the early 2000 when they provided the normal mobile phone in India as a CDMA, and now they have I think they have 450 million subscribers overall India and one of the fastest growing 5G subscriber base, and along with the enterprise solution they are coming all together. So for them it's focus on this, and they start with the last mile customer and they come up from the bottom to top. Okay, and maximum times when we provide up the solution, example in terms of the international chip market, GPU market, when the mobile phone launches, flagship phone, that always serve the prime customer. The prime people always have a heavy spending, but the number of people or the number of enterprises that are available over the globally, like we discussed, okay, are minimal. To adopt for a new technologies and to make it successful, we have, apart from top to down bottom, we have to focus on the bottom to top approach as well.
Yeah. I see we're running out of time already. That went by very quickly, at least for me. If I can play it back, I see a lot of work ahead to improve our business, step by step, as you say, automatization surrounding it with the use of partners, and the opportunity is all around us, innovation enough to tackle. So with that note, I wish you good luck in that journey, and thank you for coming.